Live streaming is on.
Hello, everybody. I think we're on now. Let me check YouTube just to see recharging YouTube if we're on, because I always have to check just because sometimes we get in, sometimes whoa, voice out. Okay, we're in. Hello, everybody. We are live now on YouTube too, and on the other side of this screen is the amazing, wonderful human being above it all, my
Wow.
friend Gary Frank. How are you, Gary? How's life?
Very good. Very well. Very good considering the situation. We're very, very lucky, I guess, or I'm very, very lucky to be able to still keep doing pretty much the usual thing, even though it's not quite as easy for lots of other people. But no, I can't complain at all. Can't complain.
How is the situation in your area?
Our area is pretty okay. There are a few infections every day. Seems to be around 5, 6, sometimes up to 10, but not huge amount considering we have that's covering an area of around I think 390,000. So yeah, no, we're not doing too badly at all. I think that a lot of the real horror show of Italy has been up north, Lombardy, those areas. There are places in Italy which have largely escaped it, and yeah, we're doing okay.
Yeah. So just so you know, Gary, you think he's in Britain? No, he doesn't live in Britain. He lives in Italy. So the references, if you're thinking about some reference to England, no, he lives in Italy. Just to locate you, okay? So we are more or less the same here. You know, but Madrid is the worst area in Spain, of course. Then Catalonia too, but we don't live in town in Barcelona. We live in a town that is like 10 minutes away by car,
Right.
20 by train, but we have a big forest close by, so it's much more open, and we are better. And I think Italy and Spain are probably be the first ones to get out of this mess.
Yeah.
Because we were the first ones to take, at least here, really strict measures.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to work. Family okay too? So nobody in your family that?
No, everybody good. Everybody
Good. So, what are you doing these days? That if you can't tell it, don't tell it. We'll change the subject.
Yeah, I can tell some of it. The bit I can tell is I'm finishing up Batman Earth 1 Volume 2. So just a few more pages to go. I keep interrupting because cool little things keep crop and I think I need to do that. I need to do that. Yeah. So we're getting there though. Just a few pages to go.
You're like you and Jeff look like attached by the hip for a few years now.
Yeah.
But
it's
go please.
Carry on. Yeah, carry on.
No, please go.
Okay. Yeah. No, we just it's since we kind of clicked together. There always just seems to be another cool thing to do together. So we just keep going. I'm sure at some point Jeff will say, "Hey, I got this really cool project," and he'll tell me something and it'll be terrible, and I'll say, "Oh, no," or vice versa.
Well, for now, I can say, honestly, I don't bullshit you. We're too close for that. That whatever you have done together, it's obvious that you guys clicked, because it's never been mediocre. It's always been, at the high level. Be it Shazam, being Superman, being the Doomsday Clock, or Earth 1, Batman Earth 1. It's always, this seems to be a really good synergy. Does he write for you in a? I can't imagine that he does, full detailed scripts for you.
No.
I can't imagine that he did it at the beginning, but I cannot imagine now. Do you do like Marvel style or not even that?
Well, the first time we worked together was actually at Marvel, and I cannot remember much of the process at all. We did a couple of Avengers together, but the moment we went to DC, Jeff actually went to DC slightly before me. We started out with the Superman stuff, and it was still pretty loose at that stage. We were talking with each other a long time before we actually started putting pen to paper. So we were talking a lot about the approach, how Superman would be, how what we wanted to do with it, and clearly at that stage we were both kind of sometimes you just start talking to somebody and they say, I think we should do this, and the other person says, oh yeah, and backwards and forwards, and each time we would kind of finish a conversation, we would just kind of go away thinking, right, I just can't wait, I got to clear the decks, I need to get on with this project. So yeah, it's always been a little bit like that. So now whenever we're doing something, we talk a lot and we bounce ideas around, and then Jeff, he'll write me a full script and there will be dialogue in it, but he's very relaxed if I come back and I say, hey, listen, I think we could maybe do this way. If it's a good idea, he'll go with it. If it's a bad idea, he'll explain why it's a bad idea, and we'll go with something else. So yeah, no, it's kind of a relaxed. There's lots of give and take.
That's what I was thinking. Also, when and if have you ever thought about coming back and do Keen again?
Nah.
Because I read that book. I remember that book. As you saw when you were here, I still have that book, and I love it. And I want to see you write again. Nothing against Jeff. Jeff, please, no. I love you guys together. I would love to see you write again. Have you thought about not even only that book, that any other book? Have you feeling about writing again, or you are like, nah, I'm fine, whatever?
A lot of water has passed under that bridge in terms of Kin. It was actually, I originally planned on doing 3 things, but it just, I think I was a lot more enthusiastic about it than the buying public. So it just didn't. It was just not something which was worth continuing with economically, I don't think. But yeah, no. To be honest, the idea of writing, I mean, writing's a lot of work and it's difficult, and it's every time you do it, it's a roll of the dice. Are people going to like this? You might have an idea and you think it's great, but there's always nervousness. You're never really 100% sure that people are going to really, really dig it until it gets out there. So it's kind of, I've got to a point with art where I have a fairly streamlined process. I know where I'm going with it, and if I trust the story which I've been given, there's a lot of there's a big safety net there. Writing with drawing with a writer who knows his stuff. Know it's going to be something that's going to be good. That you're not taking that leap in the dark. There's that, and then it just gives me the opportunity to do the thing which I'm comfortable doing and confident in my ability to do. And as I said, the thing is with Jeff he's not feeding me a rigid script and saying, no, that's the way you draw it, and it isn't. It's loose enough that I can express things if I want. If I really feel that that something that I have something in it, something in me which I want to express in some way. Jeff's so good about this kind of thing. Anyway, he's a very collaborative guy. So he's very much a two heads are better than one kind of guy.
So in a situation like this, in a way, not officially, of course, doesn't have to be official, but you really act like co-plotters of the book, because it's always back and forth, I guess.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say Jeff is definitely the guy who's driving, but if he'll definitely follow the odd shortcut if I can convince him that it's going to go.
Did you miss? Well, I've known your work for many years, as you know, but I am not really sure if my first exposure to your work was your Hulk with Peter. Do you miss that? And I love that work. I must, especially because I've been following, that Hulk for ages, until it got to the point where everybody, at least myself, was expecting, like you have Brutish Hulk, Grey Hulk, blah blah blah, and then you get to the Smart Hulk, which is where the movies just got in. So when you saw in Endgame, I am assuming you watch Endgame.
Yeah.
When you watch Endgame and you saw a Smart Hulk, and it was in a really big way, it was your Hulk. How did you feel about that? Or it was like, nah, it's not.
I didn't really think of it that way. I didn't really think of it that way, to be honest. I mean, I wasn't the first person to do Smart Hulk. Dale was already doing it. But I mean, Hulk, and I wasn't the last as well.
Yeah.
So there was I drew Smart Hulk for a little bit. For me, it's funny. I mean, Hulk is possibly my favorite character to draw, and I never really get a chance to draw the classic Hulk. One day I really want to draw Hulk, Savage Hulk. I really want to draw Hulk as I imagine Hulk. But so I mean, I've been there twice in my career. I did obviously Smart Hulk with Peter at the beginning, and then there was there were a lot of directions that Hulk has been in over the years. But the next time that I went and did him was during the World War Hulk stuff. So again, we were dealing with not really Savage Hulk. We were dealing with a
master, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and gladiator stuff and everything. So I still didn't really get to do the ripped purple trousers and the Hulk.
Yeah, you should talk to Al Ewing. He's doing Immortal Hulk now, which for me is one of the
following it. Yeah,
it's one of the best books on the shelves by far. Seeing you doing that Hulk with Al Ewing, even for an annual or whatever, 10 pages, whatever you want to do, I think that would be brilliant. And you would have such a lot of fun.
If my knuckles still keep working long enough, and I will get back, and I will get to do another Hulk. Hopefully, I'll get to do a Hulk, a Savage Hulk.
That was a lot of fun.
It's one of my ambitions. It could be my kind of retirement project. It all started there. Maybe it's a good place to wind up.
Yeah. So I have Felipe González Hernández asks, do you consider your run as penciler on Gen 13 the moment when you change your style and add more detail to the illustrations?
No, I think that was probably in a phase where the Hulk was kind of fairly clean. Gen 13 was fairly clean. The guys I was looking at in those days were like Jaime Hernandez and Alan Davis, and I kind of got into this whole thing of I really wanted to make the stuff clean, and I think there was still some of that with Gen 13. At some point, I don't know if it was actually during that run or maybe a little later, maybe on Kin, I realized at some point that I was struggling. I was finding it very hard to force the art into that direction. It suddenly became limiting. I would require another texture. I would need to draw a particular thing, and it became a kind of a restriction. It became a manacle on me. I was struggling to find ways that I could force that style to do the thing which I wanted it to do. And so at a certain point, I think I just kind of started to say, well, now I need to do dirt or tree bark or sand. I need to stop thinking about the style. I need to thinking about the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And start concentrating more on form and communicating an object, a physical object, which I'm trying to draw, rather than thinking how would clean Gary Frank, who's so influenced by Jaime Hernandez and Alan Davis, draw this object. And instead I started thinking, you just draw can I swear?
Absolutely.
I'll probably
I am you're on my stream. If there's no swearing, it's not me. So it's not allowed. It's part of it.
Okay, well I'll try and resist. Anyway, the idea I'm trying to get across is just draw the bloody object. Just draw the object and stop worrying about finish. So I started to get a little messier, a little more scrappy, a little more detailed, and then that was kind of a point at which I just kind of understood that it's a lot of work for very little gain to try to force your style to look like something.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain point, you just need to just draw it and let the cards fall where they may. It's a constant process. You're always absorbing something from somebody. You're always stealing little ideas from somebody. Just let them filter in and back out again.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned Jaime Hernandez and Alan Davis, which are like two gods of these things. So they're not bad influences to check,
Yeah, sure. And I think they were healthy for me at the time, because I was kind of in the early stage. I was very influenced by Arthur Adams and very, very influenced by Jim Lee. This was at the time, this was the period where everybody was
Yeah. Yeah.
draw like Jim. Just draw like Jim.
That was funny because
You'll tell a book,
every one of that generation, Jim, and
Yeah.
the others, were all influenced by Arthur.
exactly.
Everybody. And Arthur was influenced by Michael Golden. It's like
Exactly.
those
Yeah.
jumps you make from Kirby, well, Steranko, whatever, but
Yeah.
Golden, from Golden you get to Arthur, from Arthur to get to Jim.
Yeah.
So it's so you got influenced by Arthur.
But everybody goes off in their own way eventually.
Yeah.
And at that period when it was everything was Jim, and there was the image look and everything, but everybody was concentrating on the ciphers, everybody was concentrating on the lines, so everybody was doing like a kind of you're doing a thick line and then you're kind of hatching stuff and then hatching down out.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing exactly the same thing, and so for me at that point, probably it was lucky that I kind of the antidote to that almost was Alan Davis.
Yes.
Where you're just kind of here's an area of black,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hatch out of it a little bit if you want, but you don't need the hatching is not is not so important. You don't need to be worrying about whether you've got enough hatching on the page.
It's more important, I think, in this case, I'm talking, sorry to interrupt, when people sometimes when they see, Jaime or Alan or even Mazzucchelli in a way, when they see that line that is, so clean, some people believes that's easier, because it's not so overly detailed. And I will tell them the same, including, John Artist, like, it's exactly the opposite. Getting to that level of synthesis, it's really, really, really difficult because you have to learn first to do it with all the detail, and then you have to get it out of your head and go to what's needed.
Yeah, pare it back.
It's a lot more expressive to do it only with what's needed, that, exaggerating the details, that doesn't let you see what's important on a panel or what's important on a page.
Yeah.
Your eyes get lost.
Yeah, that's completely true. It's so funny. Like, I mean, I never really do preliminary sketches, but when you do a preliminary sketch, you kind of go bang, 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 bang. And then when you then try to pour that over, this is why I don't like to do something. If I'm inking myself, I don't do full pencils. If I'm doing pencils, I don't like to concentrate too much on a preliminary sketch, because you will never reproduce that again. You'll never, you do something simple, and then you take it to another stage of finish. You'll lose everything. You'll lose everything you've captured with the first.
Yeah.
It goes. So, sometimes, it's frustrating because sometimes, I'll do something, I'll sketch something when I'm relaxed and I'm doing something else, just sketch something and think, that would be nice if I could do. Nobody would buy it because, you have at a certain point, your career is such, your work is a particular thing, and people are buying it because of that. If I suddenly started to, you said about David Mazzucchelli, he's kind of somebody who did that, who had a style, and it was a perfectly successful style, and then just kind of said, you know what, I just want to do this, and it's a huge brave step. Yeah. But he did it. I don't have the balls for that. I have a style which I've developed, and I'm perfectly happy with my style. But I don't think
it's a balls thing at all. I just think that was his style for superhero comics, if you want to call it like that. Yeah. And he wanted to make a complete break out of that kind of book to do his own personal stuff, and with that it came, completely. I've never talked to Mazzucchelli. I'm just, thinking here. I cannot change my way in every single thing. The art has to change, the mentality has to change. So I leave the style that I use for superheroes behind to do something that I believe is more personal. That's how I see it. What are you watching these days in terms of TV shows? Yeah, TV shows, movies, music. What's your background for your background music for work?
I tend to listen to audiobooks and podcasts. So music as well. Yeah, music. It depends. It's really a mood thing. But I find that music, when I'm working, I can lose to music, and then I'll be entirely involved. With an audiobook or somebody speaking to me or a podcast, I can do both. I can pay attention, and it's great because it stops me from getting up from the board every 5 minutes. It keeps my head. It occupies a part of my brain, and then lets the other my brain do the drawing. So yeah, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. At the moment, I'm re-listening to a fantasy. Did you know Joe Abercrombie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, First Law things, which I listened to a long time ago, and I'm going back over it now.
Nice. And
I think there's an element of with the current situation in the world, fantasy is, we all just need a bit of escapism, right?
absolutely. That's why I was talking to some people on Facebook yesterday, this morning, about the kind of video games. I play video games 1 hour, like 5 a.m. every night when I have time just to unwind before I go to bed. I need like my hour. Or now there's no NBA, but it could be an NBA game or a game. And like I'm only playing fantasy or science fiction games, to escape the outer worlds. And I was telling people, look,
not playing The Last of Us or anything.
No,
like that.
fuck off, no. No, but either with that takes me to a tangent, which is the other day I was talking to Marv, I don't know if you saw it, with Wolfman or with Chaikin, and we all agree. This is not the kind of apocalypse we were waiting for. We were expecting. It's boring. It's not like, we have zombies on the windows. We have, somebody with an axe trying to kill us. It's like, stay home.
Yeah.
If you get out, maybe you will die. You will die. You're like,
it's
okay,
like,
it could be at least entertaining,
Well, yeah, and I mean, they did all this at the time when everybody's got Netflix and all of those things, so you can't even really, it's the most comfortable apocalypse.
Yes.
That they could have possibly arranged.
No, that was also something we were mentioning.
You know what? We can say something like that. There are a lot of people that have got a much harder time of it, so we need to bear in mind that we're very, very spoiled.
You are exactly right. That's something we also mentioned. That is imagine what I told Marv is imagine if this had happened 50 years ago, when we didn't have Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV Plus, Disney Plus, all of it.
Yeah,
where we can stay home or video conference like these ones, or cell phones, etc., all kinds of communicating with the family. My family is in the other side of Spain, living in Catalonia, there in Galicia, so I can just boom, this phone, whatever, communicate, constant communication. Your family, I guess, or part of it is in England, so you can do the same thing. Imagine we didn't have all that stuff at home, communications wise, and all the streaming services where we can just relax, disconnect, or even play video games. I can just download that game that somebody told me about, leave it downloading to my to my Xbox, whatever, and the next day I can start playing.
You took about anything as well. Yeah, my parents are in the UK. My wife's parents are up in Milan, and I don't know, my parents certainly they probably haven't spoken to me as much in the last 10 years as they have been in these weeks, because we're kind of we're checking in continually, and
of course,
and every so often the kids do go on to do FaceTime and things. So it's kind of it's frustrating, because normally by now would be about the time we're kind of thinking of arranging a trip over to see them, which clearly isn't going to happen for a little while. But we are we're in communication every day. We're talking to each other in a way that we didn't before this thing happened.
It's a Star Wars day too, so I have to do it. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? What's your favorite Star Wars movie, and your least favorite Star Wars movie?
I'm a boring guy, so I'm going to say Empire.
No, that's not boring. That's the truth.
It's the best one.
You can get out of this streaming now. I'm sorry. Empire is the good one.
So and worst. I'm so boring. I'm going to say Empire is the best and Phantom Menace is the worst.
It's not boring. It's the truth. Well, wait. The three.
I don't know.
I'm not sure of which one of the three prequels is worse, because I think all of them are like a bad nightmare. That every time somebody asks me about them, it's like I prefer to think that those don't exist.
I think that all of them, particularly the prequels, have some bad moments. But I don't think any of them had me checking my watch as much as Phantom Menace.
Especially the pod race. You're like,
it's like Brexit, but it's like a sci-fi Brexit.
Okay, that's a really good analogy. Like, can you get this over with already?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, what about the new ones?
I haven't seen Solo. Okay, there's a story
Oh,
behind
Solo is for me. The two really good ones are
Yeah.
not the Skywalker ones.
Yeah, I know. You're going to say, yeah, I know, because I cheat. I'm going to cheat on this because I saw you talking to Libra Mayho. Yeah, no, I know how you feel, and yeah, to be honest, all of the recent ones have been okay, but in the same way as kind of all modern sci-fi superhero adventure films are good. You know, they're good. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know that I necessarily get really excited about seeing a lot of them. Solo there's a story behind that, in that my son, my eldest son, got into Star Wars recently, and I said he watched everything, he breezed through everything, and I said, come on, let's watch Solo, and he said, no, I can't watch Solo because I know he dies. And I said, well, yeah, but it'd be fun to go back, and yeah, but I know he's going to die in the future, but everybody's going to die. And he kept saying, no, I can't watch it. So I gave up. And then a few weeks ago we got Disney Plus, and I walked into his bedroom and he sat there and he's watching something, and I said, what are you watching? He goes, I'm watching Solo. I said, I wanted to watch Solo with you. I wanted to watch it together.
Kids.
Yeah.
Has he watched the last one? Like Rise of the Skywalker?
Yeah. So
Then now that's the reason he's watching Solo, because you know that if you haven't watched Rise of the Skywalker, cover your ears now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you know that Han Solo returns in Rise.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why he's watching Solo. It's like, okay, that I saw that has a way, and I was anything else.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't know whether that counts for Eddie. For him, it's just he died, and that's that.
Yeah, well, maybe he was, he's too attached to Han, and it's like, no, I want to watch it, Poor guy died. Oh my god. Anyway, Rose, have you watched Rogue One or not?
Yes, I have.
What do you think about that one?
I liked it.
I like the, it happens to me. I like the Star Wars movies when they are not about Star Wars. I mean, I consider Rogue One a war movie with this. You watch it that we were discussing about Mandalorian. For me, Mandalorian is just a Western with the Star Wars characters on it.
Yeah, which I haven't seen yet. But yeah, you're right. Rogue One is basically Where Eagles Dare or something like that.
A Dirty Dozen, something like that. You know they're gonna die because, well, the end of the movie is what it is the plan, and is the start of A New Hope. So they gotta fucking die. So it's like a condemned movie about people are condemned to die since the beginning. So it's a really war movie. And the other ones, as I said, they're fun. Last Jedi I because it didn't feel. I'm not a hater, but it didn't feel right. The thing that they prepare all this roadmap for Force Awakens, then comes Last Jedi, and Rian Johnson says, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to destroy everything that was in the roadmap. I'm going to do my own thing, which is actually really surprising that Lucas and Disney allowed that, but whatever. And then Abrams has to come back for the third, which he didn't want to do, to make the pieces
fit together.
So the third one, I think, was doomed from the start. Whatever you did, how did you do it?
I think
you will go back to the first. Did you continue what you did in the second? You try to meld them. It's impossible to meld Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Just impossible.
Yeah, but I think even beyond who's making it or the roadmap or any of those things, I think it's impossible to not piss off a lot of people at that point anyway. But when you take something which so many people have seen, so many people have been buying into this for so many years, and so many people have discussed how this should end. The film should this should be like this. What I want to see from this film is blah blah. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's, at some point somebody is going to have to make the thing, and most people are going to not have had that story in mind. And of the people that had a different story in mind, a large percentage of the population is going to be people that think that their version was better than
mine. And
so it's it's inevitable. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed them. How old was I when I watched episode 4? I was a kid, and for me it was mind blowing, as I'm sure it was for you.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it on the theater.
Didn't. Okay.
No, because I am from 1974. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're a youngster then. So yeah. So
no, you're talking about me. You're just trying to look older.
No. I'm 1969. So yeah, for me, it hit me at that moment. That was a cinema. So there was a whole experience around it, and it was it was canon. And then it was in the days where you would see a film, and then you'd have to wait 5 years before you would ever see it again. If you didn't see it at the cinema, it was gone.
Yeah.
And it takes on a kind of a mythical feeling, and now things are just not like that. You've seen half the film, or you've read half the ideas, you've read everything on the internet before the film even gets to you.
Yeah.
The film gets to you. If you don't get to see it at the cinema, it doesn't matter, because 30 seconds later it's out on iTunes, or you've got another way.
No, it's just today Rise of Skywalker is today on Disney Plus, and the movie was December.
Right. Yeah.
So people is like, oh, that's not that fast, guys. It's 5 months ago.
Yeah.
We are not talking about rental or purchase of the movie. We're talking for free on streaming 5 months after it was in the theater.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you say. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And
I love the experience of watching in a theater, but you're going to have it in 4 months.
And you can't even before that, you can't see it without without having, because it just permeates everything into culture now, into our culture. You already know 50 reasons why this film is going to suck before you've even seen the film.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
You've had it rammed down your throat on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I hate about the Star Wars and other fans in comics too. The ownership. The owner. They own. If you be here, that's why I don't like Last Jedi. I don't hate it. I don't care. It's just a movie. So people, when they get so angry about what Johnson did, or the fans of Abrams, what Abrams did to trying to melt things, I am like, guys, it's just a movie. And you think you own Star Wars. There's a reason the Star Wars guys are saying they're not going to make more movies in the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Because you cannot survive as a producer or as a whatever. You cannot survive that, because it's the constant scrutiny of every single minutiae. Yeah. And people doesn't realize that the Marvel movies haven't gone there yet, but they will go there.
Yeah.
It'll come to a point when that exactly same thing of ownership by the people kills every possible idea, because whatever you do is going to be wrong.
Yeah. Well, the Marvel movies have kind of had a little bit of it, but it's come from a different audience, because it's come from comic audience. So a lot of people have been saying, Captain America shouldn't have been like that. Iron Man's not like that, because they have an idea which has been ported from another medium.
Yeah.
Whereas Star Wars, of course, was already, it's been going since the 70s in that medium.
And Marvel is not a religion, and Star Wars is. In a big way. For people, it's like their own religion. So.
Sure. Yeah.
So, what's the last movies? I was asking, last movies you've enjoyed that you watched in the theater before all this shit started. See, I'm trying, or just at home.
Yeah, last movie that I really enjoyed. I don't know whether it's a controversial one, because I try to stay away from reviews. What was the Brad Pitt sci-fi?
Ad Astra.
Yeah, which I really enjoyed.
You enjoyed it. Okay.
I can completely see why a lot of people wouldn't, but I don't know. Maybe there's an element of the fact that there's everybody's locked in, and I'm locked in with my 2 sons. So there's this whole father-son thing going. The cinematography, I liked. It was just beautiful to look at.
Yes.
The sounds and the construction and everything of it, I liked. And revelatory performance from Brad Pitt. Sometimes when you see somebody and you think, I didn't know that he could do that. Mm-hmm. And I'd recently seen again a film which I was really, really pleasantly shocked with how much I enjoyed it. Was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Again, Brad Pitt. Completely different thing, but much more classic Brad Pitt. And
he's done a jump. I agree, a jump as an actor. He became a producer too. and he's seen the other side of the business. I think the same happened the same with Clooney. When Clooney
Yeah.
started directing, or even Ben Affleck. I thought Ben Affleck was like the worst actor in the universe, but then you see Ben Affleck directed by Ben Affleck, and you say like, this is a different actor
Yeah, yeah,
because he's finally been able to see it from the other side
yeah,
and see the nuances he has to include. So with
Yeah.
Pitt, when he started producing, and I think that was because of World War Z, which was World War Z, because it was such a big mess, and then they had to
yeah.
fix
World War Z for the English.
World War Z. That's why why I corrected.
Thanks.
World
Well, yeah, I can't. What was he talking about?
Yeah, what we'll say, what we'll see for Americans watching. He was such a mess. I have to send you the article of how Vanity Fair. There was a Vanity Fair article about how they call Damon Lindelof. Now finally getting the accolades he deserved because he was hated before. But Watchmen have given him the accolades I've always thought he deserved. Lindelof had to jump in and literally rewrite the full script and tell them the third act makes no sense at all.
Yeah,
We have to do it again. So it cost them a lot of money. From that moment on, when I saw Pete had to, and he won his Oscars, as producer, etc. I think when these guys see the other side of the business,
yeah,
these influences also as actors. How can it not?
yeah, yeah. I never really know when you see that somebody's become a producer, you never really know how much they are kind of involved in the project. A lot.
What is the projects? In the case of Clooney, Pete, and the others, you can see that it's their own company.
Yeah.
Putting the money behind, Plan B. When you
There's
see
a financial thing, and also it's nice to have that name attached to it because when they're presumably looking also for other people to put in money, it's nice to have a known name. But from a creative point of view, it's hard to know how much they've got their fingers in their pie. When you see producer, I'm sure that there are some guys that are, that are doing it because they have an artistic vision of a project and that's the way they get it made. But I imagine there's also kind of a few guys who just think, well, yeah, that would be a cool project, and a similar project has just made a shitload of money, so maybe add my name to that, and that would be a good investment.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Clooney is like that because every single movie you see produced by Clooney has a really hardcore, left-wing progressive.
Sure,
it's himself and his wife there because his wife is a really big, as he always says, I'm just an actor. The important one is my wife, because she's human rights, big wing, and then United Nations. So you see, everything he produces has that.
Yeah.
Pick one. I agree with you. There's not always that personal involvement, but Ad Astra, I agree with you in terms of cinematography, visuals, acting. It's great, but the script is so silly and so inconsistent that I'm like, did they really did that with monkeys? That thing is like, oh, they just said, oh, he's crazy. Oh,
yeah.
That go to space, and then the most stupid crew in an airship ever, and they said, it's like, okay, we're gonna kill him.
Yeah.
So all of it is like
that whole thing with the baboon or the mandrill or whatever it was. That was odd. That was like an interjection from a completely different film. But I kind of, but the attention to detail in the entire film, I can't believe that was accidental. I feel there must be at some point that somebody said, at this point, we need to maybe kind of, put something else in, go in and make people feel that we're going in a different direction.
Yes, they did that.
And it did, yeah.
I don't know if I was good or bad, but they literally went in another direction. That's true.
There's another element to it as well, which kind of keeps you. I mean, apart from being fascinated by the visuals, there's this feeling of there's a. Because I mean, you say about Clooney, everybody has kind of a pretty good idea, I think, of the kind of guy that Clooney is, what he believes in, what he thinks. But I think Brad Pitt, for all of his exposure, is kind of a bit more mysterious.
Yes.
I don't think we feel that we know him as well. And so you're watching this guy, you're watching this actor, and you think you kind of have an idea of what he does, what he delivers. And he's delivering something completely different.
Yeah.
And you don't really know, as you're going through, you're going towards a meeting with his father at the end, but you've got no idea what that will be.
Yes.
You've been given different things during the film. You're out of your comfort zone when you're watching it. You're leaning forward into the screen thinking, I've got no idea where this is going next.
That's
You-
true. And Tommy
at
Lee
some
Jones.
point-
Tommy Lee Jones is such a fucking genius. I'm sorry.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
The moment they meet and how,
Yeah.
not going to spoil this here, don't worry. The moment how he reacts and what he tells to Pete, I was like, holy shit. You know, you can expect in a way, but the way he deadpans goes for it, you are
Yeah.
like, oh,
Tommy Lee Jones in this film is almost like he's almost like the Jaws shark, except you're not disappointed when he finally arrives on the screen.
Yeah.
So you're watching Brad Pitt getting closer and closer in this long epic journey, you know, to the moon and then Mars and then and so there is this visual feast, but you know that you're moving towards this guy meeting Tommy Lee Jones and having no fucking idea what is going to be the result of that. So yeah, for me, I really enjoyed the film.
okay.
I can completely see how a lot of people could say, yeah, but this is boring, nothing's happening.
No, I don't, no, not boring. I don't think it's boring at all. You know, my favorite science fiction movies are probably, I'm not one, some of you are going to hate this. I'm sorry. This is what I feel. I love Interstellar. I love
What, sorry?
Interstellar.
Okay, yeah.
I love Blade Runner. I love Arrival. Is I was talking to Lee the other day, as you saw. It's probably my favorite movie, sci-fi or not sci-fi, of the last 10, 15 years. You know, so I don't care about being fast. I love
My
hardcore.
only issue with that one was I felt the ending got telegraphed a little bit. It was kind of like, you know, there's a twist ending, and then before you get to the twist, you kind of
In Arrival, you mean?
Arrival. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but I think that was in purpose. It didn't bother me at
It
all.
will be, but I don't know. It felt to me like it was a telegraph twist. I might be wrong.
But yeah, that's where I don't agree, which is I don't think it's a twist.
Okay.
I don't think that movie has a twist. That's what I was telling the other day with, you know, to Lee about comparing Shyamalan. Shyamalan, you know, there's going to be a twist.
Yeah.
I know, you know, he's going to say, I am the most clever guy in the universe, and I'm going to have a really important cameo in the movie that's going to say, it's all about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with Arrival, when I watched in the theater with Paloma, it got to the point, and I said, of course.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like a twist. It felt like they are telling you it's going to happen.
Okay.
When it gets to there, you are like, of course. How did I see it?
But it just, I don't know. It just felt like there was another moment which felt like a classical of course moment, but it felt like we'd already had our of course. Like
okay.
earlier in the room.
I can see that. And of course, what do you think of Interstellar?
It's been a while since I've seen it. I need to probably rewatch that again as well. But I liked it. I like high class sci-fi.
Yeah.
I like stuff where there's there's stuff where you visuals, which of course you're always going to get it with when you're talking about directors like Villeneuve and people like that. You're going to get something that is going to be.
Yeah, if you get Villeneuve or Nolan or those kind of guys, you're like, okay, the visual feast is going to be there because they know the shit. So that's true.
Yeah.
So go please.
I guess that was probably Interstellar of the films we're talking about. That's the one which was kind of more where you're kind of dealing with a concept that you're having to get your head around.
Yeah,
but
because the concept, you know, that the concept wasn't created by Nolan or by anybody else. It was like Contact is Carl Sagan. There's a story behind that one. When they were doing Contact, you know, when he was writing the book Contact, Carl Sagan, I mean, I'm sorry guys, this is going to take a few minutes, but this is very interesting. I think you're going to like it, Carrie, if you don't know it. He wanted to do the transportation devices. Sagan wanted to do it with black holes.
Oh, okay.
And he talked to Kip Thorne, which just won the Nobel Award a couple of years ago because they discovered, you know, the gravitational waves. So he talks to Kip Thorne, and Kip Thorne tells him, no, you cannot do that with black holes. You got to do it with wormholes. So Kip Thorne, another huge physicist, created the fucking theory, physics, to tell Carl Sagan how to make it work on a fucking novel.
Yeah.
So that's how you got the wormholes on Contact. Then they did the movie in a way, it's not exactly as the book, it doesn't, well, whatever. But then Kip Thorne has an idea and says, that got me thinking about black holes. So the guy wrote a treatment for a movie, and that movie became Interstellar.
Right. Okay. I didn't realize this. It's nice to have some backstory.
Yeah, so there's a book that is called The Science of Interstellar, or Interstellar, however, that Kip Thorne wrote,
Yeah.
that I recommend. Is some parts, if
Right.
physics is hard, that I recommend, because I did it the second time I watched the movie. I read the book.
Right. Okay.
And all that went behind, all the work they have to do to make that fucking gargantua thing
Yeah.
close to reality as possible. And then you watch, like just last year, the first photos, they are not really photos, but you know what I mean, the real images of a black hole, and you're
Yeah.
like, fuck, that's really close to what we saw in Interstellar.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because they took 2 or 3 years working
Yeah.
to create the computer, the algorithms.
Yeah.
So in the movie, it looked like a real one,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is crazy.
That's good.
It is crazy.
It's nice. It's nice when stuff happens like that. I don't know. I mean, I kind of, yeah. I mean, I kind of half expected to see the Cygnus floating around from the Disney thing. God, I love that film. But yeah, no, it's. I don't know actually whether that stands up so well. These days, that's another old film which probably you would have been too young to go to the cinema to see.
Which one?
The Black Hole.
Oh, the black hole. I was talking to Wolfman about that 2 weeks ago, or a week ago. I was literally telling him I watched the black hole as a kid at home. I don't know, first time they put it on TV, and I loved it, like literally crazy, loved it. And I made a mistake against a lot of people's, telling me don't watch it again, don't do it, don't do it. So I watched it on Disney Plus. I couldn't finish.
Not that bad.
It's bad. It's a movie that is, like we were talking about Ad Astra, but a lot more exaggerated. I mean, the concepts are fucking brilliant. Swearing again, like really, really brilliant. The John Barry's score is, oh my god, this is amazing.
Oh yeah.
But then the movie, the movie itself, it's like a jumbling of different viewpoints that they don't meld at all. And some of the actors, the main actor, I don't remember his name now. He looked like the whole movie doing, what am I doing here? The whole movie.
Who was it? It was Maximilian Schell was.
Yeah, but it's also Anthony Perkins. But I don't mean any of those. It's like, oh, wait.
Timothy Bottoms.
No, wait.
Wow, it's amazing that I can remember all of these characters because I used to draw the characters when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, who do we have? We had Yvette Mimeo. We had Robert Forster.
Robert Forster. Right. Yeah. Robert Forster. If you watch the movie, you're gonna see that every single moment of the movie, especially when the robot is just,
Which one?
The robot, the main robot that is with them on the
Vincent.
Yes. So he's just like the robot, and his face all the movie is like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
This is not the script. So the movie is could be so good that this is one of the only few instances when I heard that 4 or 5 months ago Disney wants to remake the movie. I was like, this one needs it.
Okay.
A few occasions. Yeah. And Wolfman, if you watch it, Mark was telling me, I mentioned this movie, like I tried to watch it, I couldn't. He's like, there was a lot of versions behind that one, a lot of script versions. Then they jumbled it together, and it didn't work because Disney at that era didn't have the balls.
Yeah.
Or as dark and a hardcore sci-fi, so they had to have, the funny robot that was like, that, and but then there's some moments in the movie that are so creepy. It's just like, okay, this is not the same movie.
Yeah.
This is not the same movie.
Maximilian is still a genuinely terrifying thing.
Yeah.
That is a really, really good movie villain. If they redo it, I hope they don't stray too far from the source on Maximilian. That's just a wonderful design.
No, I honestly hope that they do. They go for the original version that was supposed to be much darker and creepier.
Yeah.
And then not put it, under the Disney umbrella, which is supposed to be all family. Now they have Fox.
Right.
So they could put it under the Fox umbrella, so for it to be darker, etc., etc. But anyway, I could listen to that. It doesn't fit with the movie, but I could listen to the John Barry score for in fact, I did, listen to him like 3-4 times after that, and I loved it. Have you watched Knives Out?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
What do you think?
Really enjoyed it. My
I
wife
love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. We tried to watch it my wife tried to watch it when we were in England, and what was the problem? There was some reason that they couldn't screen it, and they had to cancel the screening. So my wife was determined that we would watch it the moment it came out. So when it came out on iTunes, we downloaded it and watched it. Really good. Really
it's
good.
amazing. That's when everybody tells me, "Oh, you hate Ryan Johnson. You have sketch." Shut up. I love Knives Out. I love his previous movies. The guy is good. That's not the point.
Yeah.
It's the best whodunit I've seen in ages. And it's funny because like 2 weeks before I watched the Kenneth Branagh, Murder in the Orient Express.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, the cast is great. This movie is, I'm sorry, it's Kenneth Branagh about Kenneth Branagh. So it's like,
that's Kenneth Branagh, though, isn't it?
Excepting one
He's
thing.
a pyrotechnic, isn't he?
Excepting one thing. I don't know if you've watched his version of the Wallander novels.
No.
Okay, Wallander is a series of Swedish, noir.
Noir
novels.
Noir, as they.
Yeah, exactly. Not really dark because it's the way the Swedish guys do those things, and there had only been a Swedish TV show that's really good actually, and then it seemed that Branagh was for 5-6 years trying to convince the novelist, the creator, of doing it himself as director and an actor, etc. And the guy was no, because he didn't want anybody from out of Sweden to do it because it could be changed. And then Branagh convinced the guy to do it. And it's 3 seasons, I could say. I'm not sure, 3 or 4. And every episode is the length of a movie. It's 90 minutes.
Okay, that should be
like Sherlock. So every episode covers one of the novels.
Okay.
And the moment he finished the novels, the show is there.
Good. Okay.
And it's not. I remember when I watch it. Well, the start of the first episode, I will send to you later. So just say the first 3 minutes. This is not Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
It's just.
I like Kenneth Branagh. I like that kind of stuff. I like the mystery things. I love all of that stuff. I mean, Daniel Craig was not exactly a ham-free performance in Knives Out. There's some acting going on.
Oh yeah, I remember. Let me tell you a story about why I love Daniel Craig as an actor so much. Years ago, Paloma and I are going to New York. I don't remember for what. Maybe it was for an anniversary or something. And suddenly I discovered I got American Express just because it's the US. American Express is the better card, nothing else. And I get an email because I'm in New York, and I got an Amex and says 15 days performance only, a steady rain, Hugh Jackman and Daniel Craig in Broadway. If you get it now, you can get a ticket. And I was like, "Fuck!" Boom.
Wow,
so it was a play that it was only in New York for 15 days. It had been in Chicago and other places, but it was Hugh Jackman and Daniel Craig, nothing else. I mean, like there was no setup. It was just in the back you could see like a whiteboard, not a whiteboard, like a white something where you could see like the rain represented, etc., etc. And it was only them for like 2 hours.
Yeah. And what was the play? What was it called?
A Steady Rain.
Okay.
I probably on YouTube. This is the famous one. Remember, there was a famous one when theater play that was really talked about when they caught people, with cell phones, and Craig and Jackman chastised them because of that.
Oh no, I didn't know.
You got that on YouTube. People with the cell phones, and the most amazing is one time Jackman just got out of character and yelled at the guys, and the other time is Craig in character, not breaking character, chastising the people for the cell phone with the accent, because it was supposed to be cops from Chicago. So we were at that play, and it was literally Jackman being Jackman, really exaggerated, really over the top, and Craig was the other side, like literally the other side, like subdued, controlled,
Yeah.
and we were in awe, saying, "Okay, Jackman is just going out. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's not saying he's good, it's bad acting, but he's just theatrical, being let off." And the other was like, "I am all the superstar. I could be trying to choose things with him, like competing to see who's got the bigger name or chops, etc. Because this is after Casino Royale."
Yeah.
And Craig was just the other side. It was like completely under control for the whole play.
Yeah.
We were both like, "Wow."
Mate, such a presence. He's like a human shaped thing with an explosion going off under the surface.
Yeah, and which is like I'm probably it's like he's been James Bond, crazy, controlled, assassin James Bond, but always in control until he explodes. Then probably when Ryan Johnson told him, "Oh, you're gonna chew the scene, you're gonna ham it, you just go full Poirot and more." I can imagine him saying,
Yeah. No, it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, let me see if anybody has questions, because I've been ignoring you guys, and not on purpose, because we have having fun. Locke from Howard asks, "Could you explain why did you not continue doing Squadron Supreme, you and JMS?"
Casting my mind back a little bit, I think the thing was, from my point of view, I think the supreme power thing, it kind of felt like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Squadron Dream was, I don't know, it felt like we were, I don't know, because we had a Max book, and there was like a feeling that we could kind of do whatever we wanted, and it felt like it was going somewhere, and it had a particular atmosphere around it. And then Squadron Supreme, just at a certain point, it just everything, it was, well, we need to get this into the regular Marvel style of thing, and it just felt a little diluted. And it just didn't really feel like the same thing. It didn't feel like it had the same kind of energy going forwards.
No, that moment was like, for me, it was like, just kill it.
Yeah.
Just kill it. Why? If you had to put it on the same continuity, what's the point?
Yeah. So from that point of view, it was just that. I don't think it was, we were doing one thing and then we suddenly started doing something else, and it wasn't the same thing that we'd originally started doing. So not so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Locke from Howard. I'm sorry I didn't mention you. Then the Todo Paco, hello Paco, asks, "Since today is the Star Wars Day, what's your favorite character of all the saga?" You have to say Han Solo for your son's sake. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. Obviously, of a proper character, but I don't know. I would, at one time I would have said R2-D2 before he could fly, but that once he flew, that was it for me. So I'm going to go back on my. I remember George Lucas saying that the idea of Chewbacca was that he was based on his dog or something, and so I'll always have an option for Chewbacca.
It's funny because Lucas always went back to his dog. You know the story about Indiana Jones, right?
No.
Indiana was the name of George Lucas' dog.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that does ring a bell.
So Chewbacca is based on his dog. Maybe it's not the same dog, but considering the age, it could be. Chewbacca is based on his dog, and the name of Indiana Jones. Indiana is the name of his fucking dog too.
Yeah.
So, a little obsession, George. A little obsession.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, now it's just disturbing me. So maybe I need to think of another character that needs to be.
Don't say Jar Jar Binks.
Oh God, no.
And we'll be fine. We'll be fine. You can say whatever. I would probably say Rey now.
No, my son. I mean, you say about with my son. Han Solo is not his favorite. His favorite is actually Darth Vader. So
he's in the age. Somebody can say.
I think I've got a soft spot for Darth Vader because obviously he came from Bristol originally. Dave Prowse was from Bristol. I remember reading that everybody can obviously hear my accent, but I remember reading that Dave Prowse was really, really upset that they got somebody else to do the voice, and I just cannot imagine a Bristolian Darth Vader. I just imagining my Bristolian accent coming out. Hilarious.
No, but it seems that everybody hated Prowse. There's stories about later that they didn't even talk to him at all. There was a really weird situation with him.
Okay.
Anyway,
He was kind of a figure of folklore around Bristol. My dad tells me that he remembers when he was like a doorman. He was a bouncer on one of the pubs down in Bristol, and he was quite a well-known guy. He was also the Green Cross Code man, the Green Cross Code man, who was they were like these public service adverts to help kids cross the road. So David Prowse was like this big superhero with a big green cross, and he would teach kids to walk across the road.
Wouldn't it be funny if that was what George Lucas saw?
Who knows?
Like, yeah, gotta.
Yeah, he'd be perfect.
He couldn't make it. Maybe he has another dog that is called Darth.
There's got to be a dog situation in there.
Yeah, with Lucas, we have just found out there's got to be a dog situation around everything.
Yeah.
That's it. Let me see if we have any other questions. Okay. Somebody's asking, why was your time on Supergirl so short?
Again, I think there's just a feeling of kind of running out of steam with some of this stuff. Also, there's a lot of stuff. It was like a long time ago, and some of the things are not just about me, so I would prefer not to kind of.
Yeah, what's in the past is in the past. Just leave it there.
Yeah.
Changing the subject. Music you're listening to now.
Okay, we've already done this. We must have been going.
No music. We talk about movies.
Yeah. Okay. Music.
I asked for TV shows and you didn't mention anything. You escaped my.
You asked about what music I'm listening to, and I diverted it onto audiobooks.
That's true. No, forget it. That's true.
I'm listening to music, but it really is a mood thing. It really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. I listen to a lot of Radiohead. I've recently started. What have I been listening to lately? I went back because now I've got Apple Music. I went back and I was listening to a lot of Bell and Sebastian stuff, which I kind of like. I don't know. I don't have a genre that I like. I tend to just
same thing with me. It's eclectic. It's just the mood I feel.
Yeah.
Kind of music.
I feel that in pretty much every genre of music, there's somebody doing something good, and it's better to choose an artist than it is to choose a genre, because when you say I like this genre, you're ending up listening to a lot of shit. There's 5 or 10% of any genre which is good, and then everybody else is a tribute act. So if you get too far into a genre, most of the time you're listening to rubbish.
Absolutely.
Just go around and find somebody good.
Yeah, and repetitions of the same thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you like to do when you are not working? Just in life,
This is what takes. This is not just an interesting backdrop for.
No, I didn't think it was.
For the odd YouTube video.
It's beautiful, but you haven't done just.
This has actually been because of the lockdown. We're actually in my studio, but because of the lockdown, I haven't had access to this. So it's hard. Twice a week, I'm managing to get down and I'm doing some tests and snipping off dead bits of coral and trying to keep it all on track. But it's difficult. Normally, I'm in here every day, but with the lockdown, I'm just kind of getting in twice a week. But this takes up a lot of my time.
Is it as relaxing as it looks?
When everything's going well, it's very relaxing. When something starts to go wrong, it's the most stressful thing you can imagine.
Wow.
Because you don't know why you suddenly, you come down and you see a coral is the coral which a couple of days before looked fine, and suddenly there's a big white dead patch on it. And you don't know whether there's an infestation of something, or whether there's something to do with the water parameters, or whether there's a lighting issue or something. So you have to run tests, and when something starts to go wrong, it's a pain. But when on those rare moments when everything seems to be okay, it's relaxing.
Okay. Have you missed going around for walks with all the measures, etc., or?
I have a dog, which has kind of saved our lives. So we have the excuse to get out and walk the dog.
Same thing. I kept saying this. It's been much worse for my dog than for myself.
Yeah.
I'm used to be here, and with all the strict measures, our dog is short. I always forget the name in English because it's Braco Alemán in Spanish, but in English it's a short-haired German pointer.
Okay.
And that he needs to run a lot.
Yeah.
So every time that is like out, people gone
Yeah.
back. His face.
They're the ones that are like Manchester Terriers, right? It's like a miniature Doberman, like a little Doberman.
No. It's like a a Weimaraner.
Yeah.
It's like a Weimaraner, a little smaller in white and brown spots, but it's much closer to a Weimaraner. No, Dobermans at all. It's the hunting dogs, like bird hunting dogs, and he needs to run. And of course, the reason we have him is because we have a forest, so he can just run. But that was closed,
right,
because of the pandemics. So people and back, he took it really badly, really, really badly. But now, since last week, the kid can't come out. We just have to tell Aaron, hey, every time you go out, we gotta get the dog.
Yeah.
The hour you have to go out it has to be his hour too.
Right.
So he had,
Well, we've had the same thing as well. We did. I know in England they were allowed to take their one form of exercise per day, and as an Englishman, I can tell you there were a lot of people that exercised for the first time in their life.
Oh yeah. That started here Saturday. That the second phase, first phase was a week ago, kids. Second phase was old people, elders. Have a couple hours in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, and then there's time for the runners.
Yeah.
And of course.
Oh, that's good.
I've been seeing people like, you haven't run in your life.
Yeah.
The kind of clothing, the kind of just like the fat. I've been posting on on social networks the same GIF all over again, which is the fat runner one. Look for it and you'll see it. That's the summary of what's happened all over the world right now.
Yeah. Totally. But we didn't have the possibility to go out for exercise. You could only go out if you had a dog.
Yes. So, same here.
We just thought, we've complained about having to walk the dog so many times in the past, and now all of a sudden it's just paying off. So we got this dog.
No. It's my turn. It's my turn. Not your dad. You stay home. It's my turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's been a lifesaver.
And we are getting, it's been more than an hour, and I don't want to keep you. Let's see, there's more questions now. So after this, what is that you miss the most with all this craziness? If there's anything you miss, which I guess it is.
Yeah, there is. I think you know what? It's probably not the actual doing of anything. I mean, I miss not being able to just go and eat and talk to somebody in a cafe or a bar and just sit down and not worry about a mask. The things you just take for granted.
Yes.
The just were so normal, and now it's so weird to even think of doing it. But the other thing that I really miss is planning, to be able to plan. With spending the last couple of years on Doomsday Clock, we've not really done much in the way of going around or traveling or anything. So there was this, we'll put it off, and next year Doomsday Clock will be finished. And now, we can go somewhere. We can do these things. And we planned Japan. And then we were talking about maybe a little trip to New York and all of these things. Kids wanted to go to Disneyland. And we were thinking, this will be the year that we finally do some stuff that we've been putting off. And then bang, this happens. And, nothing's happening now. So I don't know. I mean, I hope the world gets its shit together at some point so that we can actually get on a plane.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you guys are going to ask, because you keep asking me if I'm going to invite Gary to any shows. I invite Gary to all my shows. He has a permanent invitation as a friend, and he knows it. But, sometimes there's work, sometimes there's life, sometimes you just can't. Yeah. So when he can, he will come.
Yeah.
Just that. Yeah. So don't worry about him hating humans and not wanting to see you.
It's the partly the fact that I live in a country which isn't the country that I was born in. I have kids which are half Italian and half English.
Yeah.
My wife's parents don't live locally, so they live in Milan. So you get a situation where you have a certain amount of times you can stop working in a year. My wife has a job. I obviously draw this stuff.
Yeah.
And so the idea of when that a certain amount of times we need to go to Milan, a certain amount of times I need to go to England.
Yeah, of course.
It's kind of hard to then say, Yeah, but we're not going to do that because I'm going to go into a convention or I'm going to do something like that. We'd like to kind of do
We
things.
people, it's called life.
Listening, guys. Yeah, we have family responsibilities as well.
Yeah.
So we can't just jump on a plane and go and sit behind a desk.
No, but many times it's really frustrating. We discuss this with people. Oh, you don't want to bring this guy, or he doesn't want to come, or whatever. High horse. I'm not talking about you, but some are creators. People get these misconceptions about this, and many times I just answer, look, if they don't come, it's because they can't. There's something called life. There's something called work. There's many things that are involved here. It's not as simple as you think.
Yeah.
So if it happens, it'll happen. He knows his perennial invitation, in blood.
Yeah.
So if it happens, it'll happen. And
Yeah.
you will know when it is. But it's not. That's why I wanted him to ask him this question. So you see that many times life has to be actually above, going to a convention.
Yeah.
Even if he loves his fans as he does, it's not about that. It's just about.
I'd love to see the Venn diagram between people that complain that we don't go to conventions and people that complain that our books are late, and see what the intersection is between those.
Probably here, the Venn diagram would be more in favor of you coming. That it would be about, because people doesn't care that much. The ECC edition. Paloma is the marketing director for ECC, the Spanish publisher of DC Comics here, which they brought you some years ago.
Yeah.
I always see the same.
That meal. Do you remember that meal that we did? Yeah, I still think of that. It was what in Italy they call it degustazione.
Yes.
You just try lots of little things. My God.
I don't remember what was the place. Fuck.
It was a really tiny exclusive place. We went down some stairs, and it was me, you, and a friend. Or was it me, you, and also was it Paloma's boss?
Could be. Yes. Could be. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, some of the things which are like on my list of I'm not eating that. And it came and it looked pretty, and I just thought, oh well,
Could it be dos palillos, 2 chopsticks?
Could be.
I will check it. Doesn't matter. The thing is that I remember in many cases, and this is one of them, I remember the food.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember the place.
I've never had anything like it.
Yeah.
I've never had anything like it. It was amazing.
Oh, it'll happen again.
Yeah, well,
Eventually. Whether there's a con or not a con, just because we see each other, it'll happen eventually, because life has to go back to normal in any way. You are in a big way Italian already, so that's part of the.
Well, I'm very Italian in that for me, going anywhere is virtually always about restaurants. First thing I'm thinking about, you arrive in a place and you're scouting and you think, yeah, that looks nice. Maybe we'll keep that in mind for tomorrow evening and things like that. Everything for me is, or a very, very big part of travel for me is food.
Yeah, no. This is one of the biggest subjects in these conversations here. Well, one is, we haven't mentioned him, and we won't. John Ford. That's okay. You understand if you watch the others. It keeps coming back. No, today, but it's about the food. Most of the guys here, first and foremost, we are all foodies.
Right.
So we keep talking about food. We haven't talked about food too much here, but it's all become about the experience, the food, what we miss, coming to Spain, going to Italy. We cannot wait, as soon as this is over. And Erin is now 6 already. We didn't want to go with her before, but to go to your area.
That's amazing. 6 already.
Yes, that's the point.
I think wasn't she was born when we came to Barcelona.
Yep.
Because Paloma couldn't come. You came and met us, and we had patatas bravas. See, food.
Yep. Absolutely. She was born April 12, 2014.
Right.
So it was just
That
around
was,
there. Yeah.
that was came over and we did the books. We did that signing in the bookshop. And,
Yeah. And
yeah.
FNAC, yes, absolutely. So yes, it's all about the food, about the experience of getting together when you come here, of taking you to those special places. Or when I am in I run cons now in Spain, a couple in Spain, a couple in the Netherlands, a couple in Sweden. So the first thing I try to explore when I get people there is, okay, what is the best restaurants to take? And
Right.
sometimes the guys from other countries look at me, it's like, so that's what you care about? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
What I care about is when I get my guests in other countries that is not mine, is what's the best food in this country for them to go home, not about the con, because the con is working, signing, whatever you want to do. It's about what we do afterwards. We go for a coffee. We go for a meal. What's the special meal in Sweden? What's the special meal in the Netherlands? And then that you come back home saying, yeah, the con was whatever, but man, the food.
Yeah. Those patatas bravas.
Oh yes. Anyway, my friend, I said 1 hour. We've been an hour and 15 minutes now.
It's been a pleasure. It's been great to catch up.
And you need to go back.
You kind of forget that people are watching. It's just nice to just chat.
Yeah, I think that's the point. I get some of the questions because I don't want people to be ignored, but I'd rather have it this way, just chatting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say goodbye to you. Don't cut, because first is cutting the stream, and then I want to say proper goodbye. So thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
to everybody that tuned in to listen. I hope we weren't too boring going on about food and stuff like that. I'm sure.
Nah, they enjoyed it. They love this part. Honestly, I've seen that people is loving a lot more.
People that are kind of tuning in because they want to know either what's going on now with comics, what's going on, what the next project is. Have you fallen out with this person? Is that why this book stopped, and things like that? So it's kind of hard to know how much people are tuning in because of the comics and how much they're just tuning in for a conversation.
I think that already they are going, because this is the 10th one I do. So I think they're starting to realize that the people that is chiming in, starting to connecting to watch it, starting to realize that the comics part is the excuse.
Yeah.
It's not about that. I don't care. There's a lot of people who wants to do, as I said, show how you draw, talk about your techniques, talk about the deadlines, talk about blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
For me, that sounds asking the things I already know. And I think that always sounds egotistical in a way. So I think that people should, especially in this situation, must know the person.
Right.
They must know who you are, what makes you tick, what you enjoy to do. Nobody could think that. Honestly, who wouldn't think about the aquarium?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
As I said before we actually went live, that I was sitting here. I'm going to turn the camera around. The wall which was behind me when I started the thing up is this. There's like plaster falling off and everything. My studio is. We're in I'm right in the amphitheater, and every so often there's an earthquake. But and these walls are like 1,000 years old. And when there's an earthquake, you get a crack open up, and then the plaster starts falling off. So every so often you need to do it, but it hasn't been done for a while. So I thought I can't ask people to look between a hole in my wall and this face. I'll give them somewhere else where they can rest their eyes.
No, but that's amazing because it gave us the reason to talk about that, to put it in the conversation, so people gets to know you. How do you enjoy as you say, how do you relax you, how do you enjoy your free time, with the aquarium? That's for me, that's the point of these conversations.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the point of knowing the person and what you like to do. So I hope you enjoyed it, my friend.
I did indeed.
We have to repeat it sometime with a subject that time. Maybe we'll do it just about cooking show with Gary Frank and David Macho. No.
Okay. And one day let's do one about comics. Let's do one about techniques and stuff like that.
If people wants to do that, you're here. Just ask. You do it in the comments now.
Put a warning that if people are just tuning in for Patatas Bravas content, there's no.
If you're here for Patatas Bravas, by the way, you're here about. We're talking about comics and how we do comics. That's fine. We have to do a warning with the comic artist that hey, really, really going to be about comics. You can't stay here. That's the fun part.
Yeah, we'll do it next time.
Very much. Everybody, thank you for being here. Tomorrow, as you know, I always announce at the last minute who's going to be here tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have here artists Francis Portela and Raúl Fernández. How to see this is going to be a session in Spanish, as you know we do 3 days in English, 2 days in Spanish every week. So I hope to see you here, but there's subtitles. So then in like 4 or 5 hours, there's going to be subtitles in Spanish and in English for Gary. So see you all tomorrow. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you, and bye.